Unfortunately, I was ninja looted. Ninja looted by 2 members of Olympus. They yoinked a primal Hikari idol. Again, not the worst item in the world to get ninja looted on. But, if I get ninja looted, we're not going to let that stand. Gotta launch a full investigation, figure out what happened. And I think we did definitely come to we figured out what happened in this group. So, I think you guys will enjoy the video. Went through the whole investigation. I asked the witnesses questions. I asked the suspects questions, and was able to figure out what happened here. So the important players are going to be involved here. Are going to be 4 people. We got Kroos, we got Zat, and actually I'll show you the soft reserve. The soft reserve, believe it or not, is actually still up. This is the soft reserve. And you can see the times that everybody put in their items and everything haven't been edited. Happened March 15th. And Kroos, soft reserved a primal Hikari idol. Zat is the name of my character on Faralina. I double soft reserved primal Hikari idol. And you're going to see a priest and a warlock also had an SR on the idol for future reference. They're in the same guild. They're in Olympus. And the party leader was the warlock. So then, going back to the screenshot, you can see Kroos has left the group. Zat has left the group. Roll on idol. So again, kind of weird that in a pretty short span, you can see this guy is typing pretty fast. It was a pretty short span. Both players were removed from the group before the idol rolled out, and they were 2 people that were on the idol. And interesting to note, no one else in the group was removed. Only those 2 in this time span. I will fully admit that a lot of people left the group shortly after the roll went out. You're going to see four different people left the group after this roll ended. And so, but that's after the idol was traded out and everything. You're going to see 4 different people left, but not in between the roll. And, maybe these people left, maybe they got kicked from the group. Who knows? But all we know so far is that this is pretty suspicious, right? The 2 people on the SR were removed, and then the roll goes out. And it's possible Kroos didn't get removed. I got removed. So I'm going to go into the clip of the stream as this happened, go into some of the details of the run, some of the things the warlock and the priest said afterwards. But yeah, stay tuned, guys, for the full investigation. First thing that I think is important to show is that I did not leave the group. You'll see it more in the video or the VOD as we go through it, but I have a screenshot here that says you've been removed from the group. You can see the ZG, dialogue about when my reset is, shows that I just left ZG, and I clearly was removed and didn't leave the group, right? So that's step number 1. Okay, so the next thing is I just want to give you some context on kind of what was going on in the run. There's a lot of people that were under geared in this run. It's like a scuffed run. Our tanks especially just didn't have gear. So you're going to see just this clip's going to give you an idea of what's happening. So unfortunately I get knocked off the edge there. So I was a little far behind, but I just stealth back, rejoin the group. But as I approach, you're going to see there's 10 people dead. And they all died to one bat rider exploding. So this is kind of, I guess, in the shortest amount of time, the way I can show you. This was the group in a nutshell, right? We had 10 people die to one bat rider explosion. That's the caliber of the group we were dealing with. The instance took a long time. We had a lot of incidental deaths. The damage was low. It was just not a good CG run. So keep that in mind. It was a long run. It was a scuffed run. And that's just what was going on, right? The next thing that I really want to highlight is that every piece of gear was being rolled off as it dropped. The only exception was the Primal Hikari idol. The Primal Hikari idol was held to the end of the raid. Nothing else was. So you're going to see here, Primalist Seal was linked. I'm going to be honest. I rolled on it twice thinking it was my double SR for Primal Hikari idol. I saw Primal in blue and I rolled. But the point is, you can see that items are getting rolled off. And if you continue looking at the chat window, you're going to see that more items are rolled off. And this was the same way how it went the entire run. Every single item was rolled as it dropped, except for the Primal Hikari idol. Now, why would this be? I'm going to be honest, it doesn't make sense to me. I think it's extremely suspicious because, number one, it is very common to save all loot to the end of the raid. especially in pugs, so that less people leave. At least on Faralina, it is very popular to hold all of the loot until the end of the run. Makes the run faster because you're not worrying about loot. And then, after you kill the last boss, you start trading out the loot. If people leave midway through, well, too bad. They missed out on their loot, and you should have stayed in the group, is the philosophy. So it helps people stay in the group, reduces the chance that people leave midway through, and also, speeds up the run. So very common. But that's not what happened here. Every item was rolled off. We stopped and did loot for every item, except Primal Hikari Idol, right? So that's really weird. Now, if you're trying to come up with a reason why would the Primal Hikari Idol in specific be held? I mean, you obviously have the devious reasons, as the leader's planning to ninja loot it, or the leader's hoping that people on the idol are going to leave the group, and I mean those are the devious possibilities. But really the only explanations I can think of when it comes to like the reasons why the leader would have done it that aren't nefarious would, I guess, be in the past they've had people who win the idol leave the group. That's the only thing I can think of, is that people will win the first idol and immediately leave. And the reason this really doesn't make sense to me is there's only 3 people on the idol. There's the warlock, so he's the group leader. I mean, he shouldn't be concerned about himself leaving if he wins the role. There's me. I could have potentially left. I had 2 SRs on the item. And there's the priest, who's his guildie, right? So, I mean, again, worst case scenario, 1 person leaves. The other people are going to stay because it's an idol. And an idol there's 2 that drop. So no matter what, you're not leaving the group if you don't get the idol. So it just doesn't make sense to me of all items to hold to the end. It's not like half the raid is going to leave if they don't get the idol. There's 3 people on the idol at this point in time. Kroos, you would have seen before. You'll see he's not in the group yet. And we're about to wipe on Thakal. And then he'll join the group as we replace people who left after Thakal. So again, I think it's very suspicious that the idol was not rolled out immediately. And I think this is a big reason why, there's not a lot of reasonable explanations for some of the things. I can't think of a real good reason why you would roll out everything but the idol, especially considering, the other things that happen. So that's the roll situation on how the idol was delayed, I guess, in the rolling out. All right, next I want to show the group disbanding. So we actually face pulled a berserker earlier. Half the raid died, or 5 people died. We wiped on one of those trash pools like this previously. We died, we rezzed, we came back, we died again. And then finally, you're going to see people start leaving. So at this point, when I begin the run back, you can see there's 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18 people, right? One guy goes offline. As I'm getting closer to the instance, you're going to see the offline guy gets kicked as people start. At this point, a warrior says he's going to try and fill the group and pay money to kill Hakar because he just really wants to kill Hakar. So there's still people trying to fill the group at this point. You're going to see I start running back to my body. I get in the instance and I start heading back to where we were. Now you're going to see here I'm just getting attacked by this fish. I'm not really paying attention at first, but I start making my way over to the right way to run. I avoid the fish, and I start trying to reset it. You might be wondering, why am I showing you me avoiding the fish? Well, you're going to see here shortly that while I'm chilling here and looking at this fish that I'm still in combat with, the hunter comes running through. Now, the hunter gets dazed, and the hunter decides to run through right by the crocs, run over, and feign death. Now, I ended up, chain pulled me, and I died. I'm going to be honest. I don't think the hunter did it on purpose. Maybe he did. If I was the hunter and I was trying to kill me, I would have moved the crocs much closer. He didn't feign death right on top of me. He feigned death a decent ways away. But if I were him specifically trying to kill me, I would have ran right on top of me and feigned death. So I don't think he did it on purpose, but technically he could have done it. The only reason I'm showing this is because it's right before I get kicked. So maybe it's possible this guy doesn't know the right way to run to avoid the crocs. He doesn't say anything to me. He doesn't emote. So kind of goes both ways. He didn't apologize for killing me, but he also didn't laugh or emote or make it seem like he did it on purpose. So hard to know what happened there. But you're going to see in the middle of all that, we had a few more people leave the group, including the priest. But the priest was the most recent, including the priest who soft reserved one of the idols. So I release and I start heading back to the instance, and you're going to see here, I'll freeze the frame just so you can see the state of the group. We've got I think 13 people in the group at this point. Some of them are still trying to fill the rest of the group, kill Hakar. You can see the people who have assist. 2 warriors have assist. The hunter that just pulled those crocs has assist. And the 2 Olympus members have, 1 is assist, 1 is group leader. So that is the situation of what is going on. Again, technically, the hunter could have, I guess, kicked me here. You're going to see right here, I get kicked as I'm running back to the instance. No one got kicked for a decent chunk of time. 20 seconds, 30 seconds? Yeah, about 30 seconds, no one got kicked. And, maybe like 40 seconds ago, the priest either was removed from the group or left. Now at this point, I'm kicked right as I accept a res, and pretty simple. I'm just gonna try and /who the warlock. I'm trying to figure out what his name was. I'm trying to contact the warlock, say, yo, I got my SRs in there. I need to roll. What's going on? You're gonna see here, it should be a print screen right as I arrive at the inn. That's the screenshot I showed earlier, just to show that I print screened as soon as I got back. So it'll match the time in the timer to show that I was removed from the group, even though I blocked my chat here. And so yeah, that is the events as they happened right as the loot went down. And you're gonna see later on, the people, when I talk to them, the suspects, they're gonna suggest that a warrior was rage kicking people. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but it just doesn't seem like a warrior that is rage kicking people is going to kick a cluster of people, wait 45 seconds, kick one person, not kick anyone else, then I guess kick more people. It just doesn't seem like a rage kick. If I was rage kicking someone, I would right click, remove just everyone one by one, right? So it seems weird to me that they think that there was a rage kick going on by the warriors who had assist. Because again, you're going to see here, a couple people leave right here, and then you see 3 drop off. Well, I guess that's 4 drop off, including one of the priest with the soft reserve, although he was the most recent again. And then, and then I'm removed. It doesn't seem like a rage kick. If we go back to the actual, chat logs, you're going to see here, to me, it really doesn't, it doesn't look like there's rage kicking going on. People are upset, but nobody's getting removed from the group here. I was removed right before the idol rolled out. There was people that left after, but that was the last piece of loot to roll out. But yeah, the warrior that seems the most upset here, by the way, it's over. He did not have assist. So again, draw your own conclusions. I personally don't see it. I don't think that I was rage kicked. Maybe the hunter could have kicked me, maybe. But at this point, you can see it almost seems like the hunter is still trying to form the group. So, the hunter says, I'll stay. The hunter says, advertise that you're paying if we're going to pay. Because the warrior said he'd pay for people to come to the group to finish the run. And so again, it could have been the hunter kicking me. I feel like these messages make it really seem like it's not. And the fact that he didn't say anything to me or laugh or emote. But yeah, that's the investigation into the hunter. All right. So at this point, I was talking to the leader for a little bit and saying, basically it's pretty simple stuff. I was going to report him because I got kicked and he was, yoinking the item. He said last chance before I log. He said multiple times that he's, got to go to sleep and that he'll let me roll once. He'll let me roll once on one idol. Right. And so I said to him, I'll roll, we'll try. We'll talk about it, and I'll roll on. I'll roll on one idol. I said we'll talk about the second, and then I should roll twice. But he basically was insistent that I get one roll on one idol, which again, I had a double SR. But the point is, eventually, I go roll. Now at this point, depends how you look at this. This could be, the lock did ninja loot the item, but he's trying to save face and just doesn't want to get reported. Again, we could try and take the point of view of maybe the lock did nothing wrong. Maybe, he's innocent in all this. We'll still give him the benefit of the doubt at this point. We're going to see that I roll twice anyway, and I lost both rolls. Feels bad. So that's number one. Now it's important to note, like I talked about earlier, I'm supposed to still roll on the second idol. So at this point, while you could say that the warlock tried to rectify half of the problem, I still have another idol that I should have had two rolls on, right? So due to the double SR, due to the fact that two idols drop, I should still have two. So you can see me going back to the VOD, trying to see who had assist, and I figure out that the priest has assist and the hunter has assist. So I start asking the warlock some more questions, but again, he's saying stuff that like he has to go to sleep. So we'll skip to that next part. So you can see here, I'm still asking questions to the warlock. I ask him if he knows the priest, because the priest had assist as well, and he got the other idol, right? So I ask him if he knows the priest, and again, at this point, I'm thinking it's possible that the warlock did nothing wrong. He seems like he was a little disagreeable at first on letting me roll, and he was trying to only give me one roll, which is a little weird. But who knows? Maybe he did nothing wrong, and he was excited that he got his idol, and didn't want to lose it. But at this point, we can say, assuming still that he did nothing wrong, and we can trust what he said. And you're going to see here, I whisper the healer, trying to see if he's online, and he's AFK throughout this. No clue, just invited random people. So that is, again, the answer to the question of, do you know the priest? You can see here I say, you know the priest, and then he says that he does not. No clue, just invited random people from trade. So he says no clue, he does not know the priest. So this is going to be important later. All right, now another little thing. This is pretty minimal. I mean, you can just choose to ignore this if you wish. It's pretty minor. But you're going to see the warlock says, all right, I got to work in the morning. Sorry about it. Good night. Now, again, I'm going to show you here. He comes back online later, and hey, I've been there too. You're done for the night, and then you come back, load on WoW, check something on the auction house, come back, turn something in. I get it. It's possible maybe he did have the intentions of going to sleep and he came back to play. But that's just another thing that it seemed like he was just trying to ditch me, seemed like he was just trying to get rid of me, which again, maybe if he's innocent, he would still try and do that. But you're going to see why it might be important about him potentially being dishonest about needing to go to sleep, because, he was potentially dishonest in another thing. Now, you're going to see here, and if you look at the time, it's an hour and a half later, and, the warlock comes back online. So again, this isn't a super big deal. Could again be a coincidence. Just another thing to point out that seems like the warlock maybe isn't telling the truth, as he is back online, hour and a half later, after saying he has to go to sleep for his work shift. I thought about saying something snarky, but I didn't bother him anymore at this point. Another thing I want to point out is we end up killing the boss, and the 2-hour window starts at 9:45 and about 2:14 in my VOD. And if we go just about 2 hours later, right, just a little over 2 hours later, that is when the priest starts responding to me. So again, get out your conspiracy theory hat. It's a little weird that, a little over 2 hours passes, and then the priest comes back. But again, conspiracy theory, maybe it's just a coincidence. So I start talking to the priest, and the important details is that the priest says he knows the warlock, and that's really important, because the warlock said he did not know the priest. So you're going to see here, I asked the priest if he knows the warlock. Then a little while later, he says, I said I know the lock. So he does know the lock. They're in the same guild, right? Which we knew that, but again, he knows of him in the guild. He says he knows him. So we're now at the another instance of the warlock potentially not telling the truth here, right? So ask some more questions. You're gonna see. He told me he didn't ninja loot, so he's talking about the warlock. He says the warlock didn't yoink the item, didn't remove me from the group, and he says he has no clue, but he thinks it was the warrior rage kicking. And again, we went back and looked. I don't think it is the warrior rage kicking. If the warrior is rage kicking, it's the weirdest rage kicking I've ever seen. He kicks a couple people, waits, a couple minutes, kicks one person, kicks no one else, and then it's the weirdest rage kicking I've ever seen. But they're trying to say that it was rage kicking, and that I guess they were spamming people and DMing him. He says it might have been the main tank. That's one of the people. I say that I was going to report him and all this and all that jazz. And there's really not a whole lot else that I learned from my questioning of the suspect, right? But the important thing here is that you guys are just going to have to come to the conclusion on your own. This is the conclusion I came to. I think I was ninja looted. I think I was pretty clearly ninja looted. I think if there were maybe a few things that didn't happen, the chance of it happening would be it's too many unlikely events, right? We've got the warlock weirdly not rolling off the idol, except rolling everything else. That's weird. We've got the warlock, like the timing of everything, me getting removed right before rolling it out. We've got the coincidence of the warlock and the priest both having assist, both being in the same guild. Hey, maybe it's just a coincidence. He gave assist to a stranger in the group, just like he gave assist to other people to help recruit. But maybe he gave it to his guildie because they're friends or they know each other, right? Who knows? But maybe there's a misunderstanding between the priest and the warlock. Maybe they don't know each other. Maybe the priest is overselling what he means. Maybe the warlock doesn't know the priest well, and that's what he meant. Maybe he didn't recognize him. I don't know. You can come with a million different explanations for why you think the warlock said the things he said. Maybe he really did intend to go to sleep, and an hour and a half later logged into WoW just to check something. Who knows, right? But the point of it is, too many weird things happened. Maybe I was kicked by the hunter. But the real things that I think solidify it for me is that I do not think the warlock was being honest with me. I think he lied to me 2 times. I think he lied about knowing the warlock, and he lied about, he probably lied more than 2 times since he lied about kicking me too. But between the priest and the warlock, I'm confident that they were talking to each other. One of them removed me from the group, and then they rolled off the idol. Again, if the warlock really was a nice person and really did care about me getting a chance at the idol, first of all, he would have let me roll 2 times on his idol, even though he insisted I only roll once. Second of all, he would have been honest about knowing the priest and potentially helped me meet the priest so that I could roll on the priest's idol too, right? If he actually knew him and he was in his guild. So, the reality is it's too much of a coincidence that I got kicked at the exact right time. I don't think the theory of a rage kicking makes sense. I don't think it's likely the hunter kicked me because in the logs it made it sound like the hunter was still trying to clear the raid. And, I'm sure the hunter probably had an SR on the Hikari sword. In fact, the investigation, guys, it never ends. All right. We're going to check right now. Live investigation footage. Okay. What did the hunter have SR'd? Of course, the hunter had 2 items from the last boss. Very typical that a hunter would do this. So again, just on the fly, we came up with another reason. Why would the hunter, if he's got double SR on Hakar, it makes complete sense that he would try and continue forming the group. Why would he just randomly kick me? So just another thing. It just doesn't make sense to me. And unfortunately, I was ninja-lated by the 2 Olympus players. But, let me know what you guys think. Do you think it's possible that I got kicked by the hunter? Do you think it's possible that I got kicked by the warlock? I don't think so. I'm pretty confident that I was kicked by either the warlock or the priest, and they were in cahoots. But let me know what you guys think. Either way, it was an interesting investigation, interesting situation, and it was just an idol. And who knows? I don't know if these people are are important members in their guild, or maybe their socials. I don't know what happened there, but I did put in a ticket to Blizzard because, I mean, technically speaking, there's a rule in the terms of service that says if you put the loot on master loot, you have to follow the rules that you establish in in-game chat. So if in-game chat, I actually did whisper the Warlock asking about my soft reserve, and he promised me how the soft reserve was going to work, that I could roll on twice on the first idol and twice on the second idol if I lost the first roll. So, I did go ahead and report him, but who knows? Don't know if Blizzard's going to take action. They won't tell me. They said they're looking into it. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Interesting little story there. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.